Hi guys, we're back for another video. So I've got a really good one today. So today we are going to be walking around my house doing a bookshelf tour. So I'll walk you guys through all of the books that I have on my bookshelves. I've got a bunch of Fairy Loot and Illumicrate special editions or special editions that you can get at the bookstore or Amazon. But we're gonna walk through and I'm gonna show you guys what I've got. So we'll start with the shelf that is always behind me in the videos. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start at the top here. And I've only got one book up top, and it is 7 of the Jane Austen novels in a leatherback or pleather binding. And if you guys don't know, I'm a huge Diamondbacks fan, so that is a picture of me with Luis Gonzalez that he has signed, and then his bobblehead that we got way back in the day when he was still playing for the Diamondbacks. And then this first shelf here is all of the Empyrean series, Fourth Wing books. I've got the version of Harry Potter where the spines all make Hogwarts. I've got multiple versions of Harry Potter books. And then I have my ACOTAR books with the special edition dust jackets that I bought. So those are just the regular hardback books, but with those special dust jackets. Okay, so the second shelf down has a bunch of my Book of the Month books. I've got The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin. I've read this and I really enjoyed it. It was a good mystery thriller that left you guessing at the end. And then, maybe we should get a little closer. And then The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. I have also read this. Very good. Really enjoyed the story and the magic system. Then I've got Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres, which I have not read. Husbands and Lovers by Beatrice Williams. Also have not read that. Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. Have read both of those books. Loved them very, very, very much. So much. I've got A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. Have not read that book yet. But as soon as I do, I'm sure I will be getting the Book of the Month version of the second one. Five Broken Blades by Mai Corland. I have not read this book yet. However, I've heard such good things about it, so I'm really excited to get into that one. Then I have Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. I have read this book. Very cute. She's a wedding crasher, and the storyline in this is really cute. I really enjoyed it. Very rom-com-y. And then the last one over here is All We Were Promised, and that is by Ashton Lattimore. And I have not read that one yet, but I'm pretty sure it's a historical fiction. So, some Book of the Month books. I've got more over here, What the River Knows and Where the Library Hides. If you have watched some of my recent videos, you'll know that I've recently read these and I really, really enjoyed them. So, love these books right here. And then up here, I've got all of my Emily Henry books. So I've got Funny Story, Book Lovers, Beach Read, Happy Place, and You and Me on Vacation. Now, these are all the UK covers. So much more colorful than the US ones. So I don't love the US versions of the Emily Henry books. I think they're too plain. So I always order mine on Blackwell's whenever she comes out with the new paperback. So I don't have her newest one because it is not out on paperback yet. And then I have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, which I just finished reading Part of Your World and absolutely loved it. So looking forward to getting into this one. I've got Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, and this is the Sprayed Edge edition. I have heard that some of the characters in this book are in some of her other books. So I'm going to start with the STEMinist romance ones before I get into this. And then I have American Royals by Catherine McGee. This, I think she is a royal, but it's set in the United States. So as if the United States did not have a president, but had a king and queen instead. And this is a series. This is the first book in the series. Have not read this yet. Then we've got Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire. So this is one of my favorite series about Travis Maddox and Abby Abernathy. And they actually just made a movie recently, maybe not recently, maybe like a year or two ago. And I did not love the movie. The book is way, way better than the movie. And this is a whole series. I actually just finished this series at the beginning of the year, so highly recommend. Then I have My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I thought this book was really cute. I read it did I read it last year? 2 years ago. And it is about a lady who sees an ad in a newspaper for this guy who's looking for a roommate, and the rent is really, really cheap, and she's so surprised, and it turns out that he's a vampire, but he has no ill intentions, or it's not like he's trying to suck her blood or, you know, anything like that. So it's a really cute vampire rom-com. I actually have the second book in this series on my TBR this month. Then The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I have not read this book. I actually have not read any Frida McFadden books. So I have one on my TBR for July, so I'm looking forward to reading one of her books. Then I have Scythe by Neal Shusterman, and this is the first book in the series. I have not read this, but I've heard excellent things about it. And then It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I know this may shock some people, but I have yet to read this book, and I have had it for a while. So it is on my 2025 TBR list, just hasn't come up in the spinner wheel videos yet. Then I've got all the way up here, I don't know if you can see it, it's The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. Cute werewolf rom-com. Have not read that yet. I actually just hauled it in one of my videos last month. And then these are the Daughter of the Pirate King books, all three of them, with these sprayed edges. I got, I think 2 or all 3 of them off of Book Outlet, so they were not very expensive. But have not read these yet. They're by Trisha Levenseller, and I have heard good things about these. And then, of course, I have all of my Inheritance series, the Aragon books. I absolutely love these. I'm doing a reread right now. So I'm on Inheritance. And so I will be reading these last 2 books before the end of the year. So, Aragon series. Okay, so here's the next shelf. And we'll start with these books up top. Up here I've got This Vicious Dream by Stasia Stark, which I recently hauled. I've got Rebel Witch and Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicerelli. Have not read those yet, but really looking forward to it. Then I have The Darker Shade of Magic books by V.E. Schwab, books 1, 2, and 3. Have not read those yet, but my sister said they were really good, so hopefully I'll read those soon. Then I've got Middle Tide by Sarah Crouch. Have not read. Danielle L. Jensen, Bridge Kingdom. Again, have not read that. Then Better Than the Movies and Betting on You, both by Lynn Painter. So I have read at least one Lynn Painter book and really enjoyed it. So those will hopefully get read soonish. Then let me get my camel candlesticks out of the way. And then I've got The Boy in the Suitcase by Lenny Caberbull. This book I heard about a really, really long time ago, and I still haven't read it, but I've heard good things about it, so I just need to buckle down and read some of these books. Then I've got some of the Sookie Stackhouse books by Charlaine Harris. One of the books goes on here, right here, but it's on my TBR. So then I have The Defiant, which is an O'Hara Dynasty novel. I literally have no idea what that book is about. When my grandma passed away a little over a year ago, we were going through all of her books, and I just grabbed a bunch of random books and brought them home. So this just happens to be one of them. So I have no idea what it's about. So obviously, it used to be my great-grandmother's book, and you can see how she wrote on it, all the dates that she read it. She obviously liked it because she read it multiple times. And then I've got a bunch of the Debbie Macomber books. This series is called Cedar Cove series, and I have yet to read any of those. Of course, I've got 5 of them and haven't read them. Story of my life. I never can read my books fast enough. Then we have Fallen Crest High by Tejan. So this is the first book in the Fallen Crest series, and I absolutely love this series. Tejan is one of my absolute favorite authors of all time. Her writing is amazing. The stories are amazing. She writes darker romance. So they're not cutesy, fun romances. There's a lot of shit that goes down in all of these books, and I absolutely love them. Then I have Kaleidoscope Hearts by Claire Contreras. So this is another very, very good series. So this is the first book in that series, and I absolutely loved it, loved it, loved it. And then I've got The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Have not read that yet. Then I have the, I think they're called The Word of Honor or Civil War something. Shadow Creek Chronicles. These are the 4 books in the Shadow Creek Chronicles by T. Elizabeth Rennick. And these are probably middle grade books. I read these when I was younger. They're Christian-based Civil War stories. So the main female character, she's living with her parents during the American Civil War. I'm pretty sure they live in the South. And her sweetheart is going off to war. So this is about them living through the war, her trying to cope with her sweetheart being, fighting in the war. And they're very good. I really loved them when I was younger. So definitely if you have younger kids, I would highly recommend this series because I absolutely loved them. Then I have I think it's called Wanted by You series by Steph Nuss. So these are the first 6 books in the series, and I love this series so, so much. Absolutely love this series. However, she has not published the last book in this series, and it's been years and years and years. I just want her to, I want it to come out so I can finally finish the series. But I really loved the first 6 books. Definitely worth it. I really love all of these covers. I love all of them. It's the Love in the City series, but I really love all of these books by Steph Nuss. Then we've got a couple Gillian Dodd books. So Gillian Dodd is another one of my favorite authors. She writes a lot of YA books. So The Prince is the first book in the, I don't remember what the series is called, but it's about a female spy, and she's trying to save the prince's life and all of the drama that goes along with that, and trying to keep him safe, but he doesn't know that she's there to try to keep him safe, and it's a really good series. I think there are 6 books in that series. Then Vegas Love is the first book in another one of her series, which is kind of a spin-off of the Keaton Chronicles, which are these books. It has a lot of the same characters in there, but this is the first book in that series, and it's just a typical romance book. And then these are all of the Keaton Chronicles books, the original 6, and then these other smaller ones, which are after high school. So I really go into depth on this story in the series that I love video. So if you want to know more about Gillian Dodd and her books, go check that video out. And then I also have another author that I love here, S.C. Stevens. This is the Thoughtless series, and I could have swore that I had all 3 of the first books. I don't know. But anyway, here are 3 of the books in the series. Another one of my favorite series. One of the main male characters in the series, Kellen Kyle, he is amazing. Like, I still think about him as a book boyfriend to this day. I absolutely love, love, love that series. Okay, next, shelf down. So here up top, we've got Remarkably Bright Creatures with this painted, or this sprayed edge. Then we've got Metal Slinger by Rachel Snyder. Still have not read this. Oh, I did read Remarkably Bright Creatures, and this is one of my all-time favorite books. This was a 5-star for me. I love Marcellus the Octopus. I love this story. It's amazing. I listened to the audiobook, so definitely worth it. I have recommended this book to several friends, and they've all loved it as well, so definitely worth your time. And then Last Violent Call by Chloe Gong. So those are 2 novellas in her Foul Lady Fortune series. Then over here, hopefully you can see them up here at the top, I've got The Darkness Within Us and The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. These are special editions of these books with sprayed edges. They've also got ribbon bookmarks, maps. So excited to read those. And then Foul Lady Fortune and Foul Heart Huntsman by Chloe Gong. Still have not read the series, but I need to. And then I've got The Final Strife and The Battle Drum by Sarah El Arifi. I've heard really good things about the series. I've also heard that the 3rd book in the series kind of drops off, but I am less picky than some readers. So then I've got Dreadful by Caitlin Rosakis. I'm looking forward to reading this one in the like in October. Seems kind of like a silly, goofy time. Kind of gives me Assistant to the Villain vibes, which I absolutely love that series and can't wait to read the 3rd book when it comes out later this year. Then I've got the 1st book in the Witcher series, Blood of Elves. I have seen the TV show. I liked it. I love Henry Cavill. Not thrilled that he is no longer going to be in that series. Then I've got the Inheritance trilogy, or the Inheritance Games trilogy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've heard such good things about it. Have not read it yet. I mean, you know, story of your life as a reader. Too many books, not enough time. Then 6 of Crows, the 1st book in that duology, and also the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. Again, have not read these. Then these books, all of these right here, are books that were my grandmother's. So these are like fake leather bound ones of Mary Queen of Scots, The French Lieutenant's Woman, Grapes of Wrath, The House of Seven Gables, and Atlas Shrugged. So picked up those to eventually read. And then we've got some other random ones that I really don't know anything about. Shaylin, no idea. And then I grabbed these 2, Whirlwind Volumes 1 and 2, James Clavell, because he also wrote Shogun. And Shogun was one of my grandmother's all-time favorite books. She always, always, always talked about it. So I grabbed those because he's the author, and then I grabbed her copies of Shogun. And then Domina by Barbara Wood, no idea, but grabbed it anyways. And then I've got books 26 through 30 of the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Evanovich. So I started reading that series in high school, and I liked the first probably like 10, 12, 13 books in the series a lot. And now they're just kind of getting repetitive. So I've slowed down in reading them, and I'm quite behind. but I still every once in a while enjoy reading them. So I've got the last couple books in that series that I'm going to try to get through. Okay, last shelf on this bookshelf. So here are all my book sleeves or my hard book covers that I've got. So I've got way too many, I'm sure. But then up here we've got the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy by Kerri Maniscalco. Still have not read those, unfortunately. Then I've got Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan. I've heard good things about that, but have not read it yet. Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsay Straub. I've also heard great things about that, but haven't read it yet. And then The Atlas Six by Olive E. Blake. Have not read that one either. Then we've got Manacled by Cinlin Yu. And I absolutely loved that book so much. I read it on my Kindle and I loved it so much that I had to go buy the hardcover editions on Etsy, and they were ridiculously expensive, but the artwork in them is amazing and I absolutely love them. Then I have the entire Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi. Again, have not read that, but heard good things about it. And then I've got some of the Plated Prisoners books by Raven Kennedy. I think this is book 2, 4, and 6. They were on sale on Amazon, so I went ahead and picked those up, but have not read that series yet. Okay, so that is it for this bookshelf. So let's go ahead and move on to another one. Let's start on this bookshelf now. We'll start at the bottom this time. So over here, we've got a couple of James Patterson books. Over here, we've got Guilty Wives, Beach Road, and Honeymoon. I have not read any of these books yet. That is a very common theme with me. Then I have The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I've heard excellent things about this book. This is the more recently published edition of this book. And, oh, I need to take that silly sticker off. The Briar Club by Kate Quinn. Have not read that. And then I have Hard Work Pays Off by Matt Fraser. So he is a CrossFit athlete. He's retired now, but he won the CrossFit Games several years in a row. And this is his book that he put out about learning how to do different skills and just trying to maximize your capacity. Then I have Unveiled by Liza TerKeurst. And this is kind of a self-help book, When You Feel Less Than, Left Out, and Lonely. And I started this book years ago and haven't finished it. So I just need to get back into that one. It's kind of a self-help book. Then I have The Orchid House by Lucinda Riley. I got this book from one of my friends a long time ago. She loved it, but I still have not read it. Then I have The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Again, have not read this. This is Girl Off the Grid by Kenzie Hart, who is Jillian Dodd's daughter. Ula for Women. So they used to make tea and would travel around the U.S. Promoting the, quote, Ula lifestyle. It's just a healthier lifestyle. So this is just kind of a self-help book. And then I have Songs of Silver Flame Like Night by Emily Wen Zhao, and I have not read this book yet. Then Felony Ever After is a novella book written by 13 different authors, and Tejan V. Keeland, Penelope Ward, Helena Hunting are all authors that I really love that are part of this short story series or novel. And then I've got Angel Falls by Kristen Hanna. So Kristen Hanna is known for her historical fiction books. So this is one of her earlier books. Then I have A Witness to Genocide by Roy Gutman. So that was a book that I used during my grad school years because I studied forensic anthropology, and so forensic anthropologists end up studying genocide a lot because a lot of those people can only be identified by their skeletal remains. So unfortunately, we had to study a lot about genocide in school. So this is one of those books. Then I have Crave by Tracy Wolff, the first in this series, have not read it. Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim, again, have not read this. I have Billy Summers and The Gunslinger by Stephen King, have not read those, but I've heard really great things about them. Let me move to the other side. You can actually see. Then we've got behind here the Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. Have not read that. Then we have The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. Empire the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Up here we have a J.R.R. Tolkien book. It has ties to Middle Earth with Lord of the Rings. Then I have Lightlark by Alex Astor. All of those I have not read yet, unfortunately. Then I have the whole Twilight Saga by Stephenie Meyer. I have read these multiple times. I loved those so much. I read them the first time when I was a freshman in college, and I loved them so much. Midnight Sun, didn't love as much. I thought it was too long. It took forever to get through, but I've still read it. And then I have some Catherine Coulter books from her like FBI police drama series. I have a bunch more of this series back behind these books. This bookshelf is very oddly shaped in that it starts off wide and tiers backwards. It's meant to go in a corner of the house, basically the corner of your room. And so there's a lot of space behind here. So I've got a lot of these books behind, just so they won't take up as much room and I can save a little bit of space. Okay, so our second shelf here, we've got a trilogy by Barbara Taylor Bradford. And my grandmother got me this a while ago and I still have not read them. And then Buried Secrets by Victoria Sanford, again, a book from my grad school days. Then I have Scarlet by Alexander Ripley. This is supposedly a sequel to Gone with the Wind. Have not read it. This is one of the books that I got from my grandma. Then Slipknot by Linda Greenlaw. Mystery thriller, have not read that. And then I have Lace and Lace 2 by Shirley Conran, and then Molly by Teresa Crane. And also this biography about Jackie O. All of these I got from my grandma's collection and have not read those yet. Then I have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, which I just recently hauled. And then I have some Patricia Cornwell books. I've got a bunch of her books thrown back behind here. I have a lot of the ones in her, I think it's called the Scarpetta series. It's another like crime, police, FBI drama, something like that. More James Patterson books. These are all his like mystery, Women's Murder Club, those types. And then here's more of that Patricia Cornwell series back behind here. And then we start off on the Nora Roberts books. So I've got a bunch of Nora Roberts books. My grandma was a big fan of Nora Roberts, Patricia Cornwell, Catherine Coulter. So I got a lot of these from her or based on her recommendations. So all of the ones that are here, I have not read. All of the Nora Roberts books that I have actually read, I have gotten rid of. So we've got Stars, The Villa, River's End, Charmed and Enchanted, and I believe this is 2 novels. The Hollow, This trilogy is Jewels of the Sea, Tears of the Moon, and Heart of the Sea. Angel's Fall, The Reef, Tribute, Homeport, Sanctuary, Midnight Bayou, Carnal Innocence. We've got some other ones over here that I can't see. And then this is a trilogy, Daring to Dream, Holding the Dream, and Finding the Dream. All of those Nora Roberts books have not read yet. I've got Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Up here I've got Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood. I've got House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. Together We Burn by Isabel Ibanez, and Heavenly Bodies by Amani Ariu. So, have not read any of these books on this shelf, actually. Okay, let's do this top shelf now. So I've got it's not called the Game of Thrones series. I'm blanking on the name of the series, but I've got all 5 books. I've got all 5 books in that series by George R.R. Martin. And then I have most of the series, again, a lot of these are back behind here. Clan of the Cave Bear series by Jean M. Ayul. This is another recommendation from my grandmother. She loved these books. I do need to read them, but I do have, I think, the first 5 or 6 books in the series. Then Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I've got a bunch of Barnes & Noble classics here. Gulliver's Travel, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Sense and Sensibility, Three Musketeers, and Jane Eyre. Of these, I don't think I've read any of them. I don't think I've actually read Sense and Sensibility. No. I love Jane Austen's writing. I just haven't read all of her books yet, but I've read a couple of them. Then I have a bunch more Nora Roberts books. I've got Irish Rebel, High Noon, Carolina Moon, The Liar. What is this other one that I can't see? True Betrayals, Worth the Risk, and Whiskey Beach. All have not read. We've got more Kristen Hanna, Magic Hour, and Summer Island. I've got Karen Marie Moning's Beyond the Highland Mist. One of my good friends from college, she loves this author and recommended this series, and yet I still have not read it. And it's been a lot of years since she told me about these books. And then I've got Ashes in the Wind by Kathleen E. Woodowis. Then Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. Passenger to Frankfurt by Agatha Christie. I've got this series by Jefferson Bass. So this is actually 2 different people. And Bass, he's a forensic anthropologist, and he is one of the men who wrote basically all of the books on forensic anthropology and started all of that going and did all the studies and, how to do the measurements and different features to look at and what's unique and all of those things. So Bass is a big name in forensic anthropology. So he wrote this crime thriller series with an author. So I have those books. And then I have some Catherine Coulter books up here too. This is the same series as the one on the first shelf. It's her like crime thriller, whatever series. Okay, so the top is a little bit of a mess. So up here is where I keep my TBRs. So I've got my TBR for June, I've got my TBR for June over here and my TBR for July over there. I had to film my July TBR early, so that's why I already have those books stacked up. However, up here are all Harry Potter books if I take away my TBRs. I've got all of the Harry Potter illustrated editions. I've got a Harry Potter mug which has some names of books in them that I've had forever that I need to read. And if that slice ever comes up on my spinner wheel, I will pick a book from that mug. And then in the right corner, I have the Harry Potter series where when you lay them out on the covers, the snake goes across all 7 covers of the books. Plus I've got Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Tales of Beedle the Bard, etc. So mainly a Harry Potter area. Okay, so this bookshelf is a little harder for me to get to because my cat's litter box is right next to it. And so it's kind of awkward for me. But I've got I think this is Capitana by Cassandra James, which is an Illumicrate book. Have not read this yet. Then I've got Assistant to the Villain, and up here I've got Apprentice to the Villain, both of which I have read and absolutely loved. Then I have the Bonded by Thorns series by Elizabeth Helen. Have not read these yet, but I really, really want to. Quicksilver by Callie Hart, and Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. Then these are going to be a little bit harder for me to figure out what they are. I think this is Games Gods Play, and this is When the Moon Hatched, Courting and Bristol Keats, Fire. Oh, I have to move. Oh gosh. This is The Rose Bargain. This one is Firebird by Juliet Cross. Then we've got The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart, and Scorpion and the Night Blossom by Emily Wynne Zhao. This is Immortal by Sue Lynn Tan. We've got the 3 Lucy Score books, the Knock 'Em Out series. And then we've got Teller of Small Fortunes, which I read a couple months ago and really enjoyed. Then we've got Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. And then Windweaver by Julie Johnson. And Where Shadows Meet by Patrice Caldwell. Now I've got over here Riftborn by Greenwich and Lennox, Spectacular and Caraval by Stephanie Garber, Spark of the Everflame, Glow of the Everflame, and Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. These are the newly published hardcover version. Then I've got, oh geez, these are so shoved in there. Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright, and then Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. And then here I just redid these shelves and moved some of my crafting paints and stuff. So up here I've got These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. Stars That Are Dying and The Night Is Defying by Chloe C. Peñarania. And then I've got the last one by Rachel Houtzel Hall. Then The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzun. Air by Sabaa Tahir. This is Shield of Sparrows, which just came out by Devney Perry. This is The Coven and the Curse by Harper L. Woods. Then I've got Gothicana and Enigma by Rue Nix. This is the new one by Olivia Blake. This is Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. So these are the 4 most recent books, Fairy Loot books that I just hauled. The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. The Floating World, Rachel Gillig's new one, The Night and the Moth, and then Bones and something. Broken Souls and Bones. Okay, let's go to the top. Okay, and the last books for this bookshelf. So I've got another stack of Book of the Month books here. We've got The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig, Dagger in the Flame by, last name Doyle, I can't remember the first name. Then I've got Babylonia by Costanza Casati, The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This was the Book of the Month, Book of the Year. Phantasma by Kaylee Smith, The Road of Bones by Demi Winters, Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen, and Bloodguard by Cece Robson. Have not read any of these yet, but I've heard good things about all of them. Then I have the Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hate series. I know that these are not in order. They just are up here, but I've got all 5 in the UK covers because I don't like the US covers. Then I've got the entire Dune series right here, the box set. And then I've got my Flesh and Fire and Blood and Ash books. There's such a big space there at the end because I'm reading a lot of them. And so a lot of them are sitting on my TBR, so that's where those go. But I've got some regular editions, some special editions, and some Barnes & Noble editions of those books. Then this is my scrapbooking shelf, but I have a few books over here just because I didn't have anywhere else to put them. So I've got This Woven Kingdom, the trilogy by Tahereh Mafi. I've got the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. And then I have the fourth book, The Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. Okay, so this shelf is going to be a little difficult to film because my guest bed is literally right here. The tripod is sitting on it. And there's not a whole lot of room for me right here. So this top shelf, I have the first book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Maniscalco. And I was able to get this cover that I like better than the one with the people on it. I don't know if the other books in the series have this cover. I haven't really looked to find them yet. Then I have a couple classics. So I've got Les Mis, Emma, Uncle Tom's Cabin, and Robinson Crusoe. Have not read those yet. And then the rest of this shelf is the In Death series by J.D. Robb or Nora Roberts. J.D. Robb is a pen name for Nora Roberts. So my grandma really, really loved this series as well. And so I have been reading these books for a long, long time, and it's just taking me forever to get through them because there are so many friggin' books in this series. So I've got a bunch of those on that top shelf. And then at the very end, I have The Godfather by Mario Puzo, which again was another one of my grandma's most favorite books that I still need to read. This second shelf, let me get down here. The second shelf, we've got more classics. We've got Tess of the D'Urbervilles, Age of Innocence, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and The Count of Monte Cristo. Series by Denise Domining that I got from my grandma. So I really don't know what these are about other than they're based off of the seasons. So spring, summer, winter, autumn. They're obviously not in the correct order, but romance, typical. So don't know what these are about, but grab those from my grandmother's collection. And then I have a couple of Janet Evanovich books. So I've got one of the ones in her, two in her series with Lee Goldberg, The Chase and the Heist. And then I've got some other ones of a different series. I think it's called the Full series. Full Scoop, Full Blast, and Full Bloom. So I believe there are 5 or 6 books in those series. So these are the 3 that I have left to read. Then I have more James Patterson books, which are on the rest of the shelf. So we've got the Alex Cross series. Actually, I think these are all Alex Cross series. They're just not in order whatsoever. Yeah, these are just not in any order. Okay, and this is just as good as that angle's gonna get for these bottom 2 shelves because I can't actually get the tripod down here because it would be too close to the shelves. So on this shelf, I've got Girl in the Bear Skin by C.L. Stone. So I have not read a book in this series yet, but I have read most of the books in her Ghost Bird series, and I absolutely love that series. Then we've got 3 Weeks with My Brother and See Me by Nicholas Sparks. I enjoy Nicholas Sparks books, but I have to be in the right mood because they are so sad. Then I have Sex and the City by Candace Bushnell. Then I have 2 Mary Kate Andrews books, Hissy Fit and Savannah Breeze. I want to read those this summer, but who knows if they'll come up on my spinner wheel since I've already picked my June and July reads. Then I have The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. I've got Something Borrowed, and over here Something Blue by Emily Griffin. More Nicholas Sparks books, The Last Song, The Best of Me, The Choice, and Safe Haven. I have not read any of the books on these on this shelf. I think most of the books on this entire bookshelf I have not read yet. Then I have Lonesome Dove and Comanche Moon by Larry McMurtry. Again, recommendation from my grandmother. She absolutely loved this series. Then I have Savage Surrender by Colleen Faulkner. a book I grabbed off my grandma's shelf. No idea what it's about. More Nicholas Sparks books. I need to get to reading some of his. I've got The Rescue, The Guardian, Dear John, Message in a Bottle, Suzanne's Diary for Nicholas. Oh no, that's James Patterson. But I haven't read that one either. And then I have a bunch of Kathy Reichs books. She is a forensic anthropologist and has written a series about a forensic anthropologist. So if you remember back in the day, a show called Bones with Temperance Brennan, she was the forensic anthropologist. That is based off of this Kathy Reichs series. So I have read the first 2 or 3 books in that series, and they're okay. I don't remember liking them very much, but again, it's probably been like at least 15 years since I've read them. I still want to give them another shot because obviously I am really into it. And then up here I have Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss, which is the first book in that series. I have Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout stuck up here. And this is the blue sprayed edge edition. And this is another Kathy Reichs book. And then I've got some essential oil books and then the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace book. So down here on the bottom shelf, I've got a lot of Barnes & Noble Classics. Most of these are Barnes & Noble Classics down here. So I've got The Beautiful and the Damned, This Side of Paradise, The Picture of Dorian Gray, Little Women, Mansfield Park, Northanger Abbey. Have not read these. However, Pride and Prejudice, I've read multiple times. I absolutely love this book so much. Then I've got The Man in the Iron Mask, Madame Bovary, Anna Karenina, Grimm's Fairy Tales, Treasure Island, Sherlock Holmes, Lady Chatterley's Lover, Vanity Fair, and The Secret Garden. So I've read the first volume of Sherlock Holmes, but not the second. And then the rest of these I have not read yet. Then over here, I've got the Crowns of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent. So I got Serpent and the Wings of Night, Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, and 6 Scorched Roses. Then this book over here is called Quinn by B.C. Burgess. So B.C. Burgess is an indie author, and she wrote the Mystic series. And this is just a novella from her Mystic series. And I've read, I think, the first 5 or 6 books in the series. And I really enjoyed the first couple. And then I got halfway through, I don't remember which number it was. I think it may have been 6 or 7. I got about halfway through it and just, I didn't care anymore. But the first couple books in that series are really good. And then over here on top, I've got Ember in the Ashes by Sabit Tahir. So I knew this was somewhere. I've got Green Darkness by Anya Seton and Circle of Stones by Annalee Waldo. So these are recommendations from one of my friends, and I just haven't read them yet. And then last one over here is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. I absolutely loved that autobiography. If you want to pick it up, definitely do the audiobook because Matthew McConaughey narrates it. So it was so good. So that is it for this bookshelf with the terrible angle. So I've only got one bookshelf left, and that is the one that is in my living room. Okay, so at the bookshelf in the living room. So I've got the Lauren Roberts Powerless series, Powerless, Reckless, Fearless, and Powerful. And then up here, I've got Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. And then down here at the bottom, Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. Okay, so then over here, we've got Anatomy and Immorality by Dana Schwartz. This is a duology that Rachel Catherine really loved that I still need to read. I've got Spice Road. Who is the author of this? Can't get it out. Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim. Have not read this one yet. Got Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. And then I've got the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. Have not started that series yet. I need to get into them. And then up here on top, I have 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And then on this shelf, I have God Killer and Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner. So the entire Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, which I have read all of those. And I got this version of the series on Blackwell's. I don't love that they have the permanent sticker, but I liked the muted colors better than the ones that are published in the US. Then over here, I have the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. So this is the first 6 books in that series, and they all are the ones with the rainbow spine. So this is another special edition shelf. So I have mostly Illumicrate special editions. So I've got the Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I've got To Cage a God by Elizabeth May. Then we've got Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chang. Then Of Jade and Dragons by Amber Chen, which the sequel to this book should be coming in the mail sometime in July. Then I have The Never List by Jade Presley. Then Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf. And last on the shelf is The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. Okay, y'all, so this is the last shelf. So I've got the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas up here. And then I've got The Principle of Moments by Esme Jakim Pearson. And this is an Illumicrate book. So that wraps up this bookshelf tour video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's not too long. And some of the bookshelves were a little bit difficult to get to, so hopefully I'm mostly in focus. I'm not sure why it's focusing on my bookshelf and not me. Hopefully you enjoyed this bookshelf tour, and I am hoping in the next little while, maybe this year, I will get some bigger, nicer bookshelves that I can put in here so my books can be a little more organized, a little less crowded, so I don't have to stack books up like this, because I don't love doing that. It's just that I don't have room right now. Like I still have a couple of books that aren't on a shelf, they're just sitting over here. It's only 3 books. However, one of the books is Priory of the Orange Tree, so that's basically like 2 books in and of itself. So I've got 3 books over here that still don't have a home, and I just don't like how crowded some of the shelves are, or how crowded all of the shelves are. But that is a project for a little bit later. More bookshelf organization / bookshelf tour videos to come. So let me know down below any of the books that you want me to read like now, that I need to get to. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.